every time, every day, for every.
Good afternoon and welcome to News Hour Live on the SLBC television with me, Michaela Brewa. Coming up in this afternoon's edition of the news, Sierra Leone joins other countries to observe Hepatitis Day. The ambassador of Ireland to Sierra Leone takes formal leave of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Government of Sierra Leone receives over $34 million from the International Monetary Fund. NACSA's commissioner says the Islamic Development Bank's $51 million GITREG project will lift poor communities out of poverty. All these stories and more, including business and sports news, all in the news this afternoon. Michaela Brewa once more. We begin the news. The president of the Alliance for Hepatitis Sierra Leone, Kweku Mensah, has said in Sierra Leone hepatitis B and C are the most prevalent and that access to data on this trend among the population is key in fighting hepatitis. He made a statement during a news conference to observe World Hepatitis Day on the theme No Hepatitis Act Now at Harry and Sene Memorial Hall on Campbell Street. Joseph Stanley reports.
According to Mr. Mensah, globally about 95% of people with hepatitis are not aware that they have it and that access to treatment is a major challenge. He added that hepatitis B and C are most prevalent infections.
We observe the World Hepatitis Day, which happens to fall on July 28th every year. In Sierra Leone, some health professionals have termed it as a silent epidemic. Because before you realize, you come. Without you knowing, people find out at the latter stages of the disease when the liver is compromised. So we believe, the Alliance believe that it is a cause for concern for all. And that is why we've taken it upon ourselves, starting with awareness, by raising awareness.
The president of the Alliance calls on the Ministry of Health and Sanitation and other relevant stakeholders to step up efforts to roll out national health sector strategy in line with the global health sector strategy on viral hepatitis. Improve surveillance on viral hepatitis at health facilities across the country, as well as make tests for viral hepatitis, especially hepatitis B and C, readily accessible in all health facilities. Mr. Kweku Mensah also calls on the general populace to get tested at appropriate health facilities and laboratories in order to know their status, and that hepatitis B vaccines is available and can protect against the infection. He says as part of the observance of the day, the Alliance has begun a series of campaigns to raise awareness among students within the Western area and screen them for hepatitis B free of charge. Mr. Mensah revealed that the Alliance seeks support of corporate bodies, philanthropists, and partnerships with established health NGOs to scale up the campaign nationwide and advocate for national policy on viral hepatitis. The head of the communication unit of the Alliance, John Smith, explained about the mode of transmission, global perspective, and the situation in Sierra Leone.
Hepatitis is not a death sentence. Or the word hepatitis of itself, the hepa means the liver, and hepatitis means inflammation. So in short, hepatitis is inflammation of the liver as a result of any cause. The causes of hepatitis ranges from several angles. It can be caused by infectious agent, and it can also be caused by non-infectious agent. We call them infectious agent because these are agents that you can obtain by contact, and these are agents that can spread from person to person.
It calls on the media to take active role in providing relevant information on viral hepatitis to the general populace and also to advocate for greater attention on the disease. An interactive session formed part of the news conference. SLBC News Joseph Stanley reporting.
Board and management of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation have jointly made an on-the-spot visit to properties of the corporation in Freetown. The team, which was headed by chairman of the board, inspected the facilities at Godridge, the substation in Kisitown, Waterloo, and the Leicester Peak transmission site. Ibrahim Samura went along.
Chairman Mr. Festus Mina inspected the facilities at Godridge, the substation in Kisitown, Waterloo, and the Leicester Peak transmission sites. At the Godridge, the team notes the massive encroachment and that the Ministry of Land has placed an X on almost all the illegal structures. Residents around informed the team that the Ministry of Lands has plotted the entire SLBC land space for further allocation to the public. The team was very dissatisfied that the broadcasting facilities are being used for dwelling and other activities. During the team inspection at the Kisitown substation in Waterloo, it was realized that the facility is being occupied by an Islamic radio station operated by Mona Zamat from the Gambia, and the Leicester Peak transmission sites. They found out that there is massive encroachment. The board and management have promised to reclaim all properties of the corporation.
The ambassador of Ireland to Sierra Leone, Dr. Sinead Walsh, has taken formal leave of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ireland and Sierra Leone have long-standing relationships spanning over 150 years. Awanat Conte reports.
With the opening of the Irish Diplomatic Office in Freetown in 2005, bilateral cooperation was established to further deepening and strengthen the existing relations. The Irish mission was upgraded, and later Dr. Sinead Walsh was appointed ambassador in December 2014. The outgoing ambassador of Ireland, Dr. Sinead Walsh, said our country provided 100 million euros in support to projects in Sierra Leone between 2005 and 2015. She said the embassy is working on building trade links between the two countries for mutual benefits, with a lot of Irish companies working in the country, citing PW Limited, Lagan Group, and KN Networks, among others. She added that they also provided support to the Ebola crisis in West Africa, and the Ministries of Health and Agriculture, UNICEF, FAO, WFP, Helen Keller International, and Action Contre la Femme. Minister of State 1, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Jibril Cissé, recognized Ireland's assistance to Sierra Leone's development drive and the Ebola outbreak. The outgoing Ireland ambassador, Dr. Sinead Walsh, first came to Sierra Leone as head of Irish Aid, later chaired the affairs and appointed ambassador in 2014. SLBC News, Awanatu Conte reporting.
The government has received over $34 million from the International Monetary Fund. The fund follows the approval of the fifth review of the country's performance under the Extended Credit Facility Arrangement. A press release from the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development stated that government also received the sum of $30 million as capital gain tax, showing the conclusion of the sale of Airtel to Orange Group. Another expected disbursement includes 23 million euros from the European Commission and $20 million from the World Bank during the course of this year. The amount will be made available to the private sector through the weekly foreign exchange auctions at the Bank of Sierra Leone. The release says the Leone equivalent of the funds will be utilized to support the government budget, including funds for the government's infrastructural programs. The World Bank country manager, Parminder Bra, has inspected the Social Protection Secretariat at Naxa, Charlotte Street in Freetown. The visit is to get an insight into the operations of the Secretariat in the implementation of the Social Safety Net scheme. Sent Okago sent on this report.
Briefing the World Bank manager, Deputy Commissioner Naxa, Haja Aisatu Kamara, said the bank is the traditional partner to the Commission and a strong backbone of Social Safety Net program. Presentations were made by the Director, Monitoring and Evaluation NACSA, Dr. Susan Roberts, on the status of the program, citing its achievements and the implementation of the labor-intensive Cash for Work, which is youth-centered. Systems specialist Clifford Papps-Gannon spoke about the MIS system and a demonstration of the Sprint MIS. The World Bank country manager, Parminder Bragg, said the issue of the use of the SMS payment systems to be integrated into the payment system. He said the bank is happy with the partnership with NACSA. In another development, the World Bank country manager, Parminder Bragg, witnessed the second quarter payment for the social safety net beneficiaries in Salubu village, Kowa Chiefdom in the Moyamba district. He congratulated the people of Sierra Leone for the progress made over the years in developing communities countrywide. The safety net scheme is implemented in Kono, Bombali, Moyamba, and western rural districts.
Parliamentarians have called on the civil society groups to actively involved in the implementation of their African mining vision process. They made this call during the commencement of an awareness-raising campaign which heads of state in Africa are working towards. The program targeted expatriates from Ethiopia, Malawi, paramount chiefs, mining companies, lecturers and civil society activists across the country. Hawa Mosiri reports.
The African Mining Vision was adopted by heads of states in February in 2009 at the AU Summit. It is Africa's own response to tackling the paradox of great mineral wealth existing side by side with pervasive poverty. The African Mining Vision is holistic and it calls for thinking outside the mining box. Accordingly, it is not just a question of improving mining regimes, but making sure that tax revenues from mining companies are optimized and that the income is well spent. The Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources, Abdul Ignosi Kroma, states that the African Mining Vision is one of the core programs of the government's agenda for prosperity, the reason why his ministry is targeting citizens from all walks of life. He states that African Mining Vision is a development mining approach that calls for the building of economic and social linkages for Africa.
The African Mining Vision Awareness Program is here from Addis, from the AMDC, the African Minerals Development Center, is in charge of the African Mining Vision. In 2009, heads of states of Africa committed themselves to the African Mining Vision. The vision speaks to the transformation of the mining sector, making sure that it will benefit its people and its country, and that it will mitigate the problems of the mining sector and the curse of the mineral sector. It is on that standpoint, heads of states of Africa came together and agreed the African Mining Vision, and for it to be domesticated in all African countries. Sierra Leone today has taken the lead, and to make sure that we enjoy the advantages of the African Mining Vision principles that are about to come. In the cause of that, we are assiduously working in reviewing our core minerals policy. Our core minerals policy, as it was addressed in our agenda for prosperity.
Briefing the participants, about the Africans' roadmap for sustainable exploitation and utilization of mineral wealth in Africa, a representative from African Mining Development Center of Malawi, Paul Mwama, says the African Mining Vision seeks to promote transparency and optimal exploitation of mineral resources to promote development. He said that the African Mining Vision should focus on mining revenues and mineral rents management.
In Lesotho, they had to abolish everything, including the ministry itself, abolished, because the way the ministry was set up was not responding to what they had identified as the priorities, and started all over again, setting new structures, new laws, and all that. So when you have discovered what you want as a country, you identify all the priority areas where you say maybe education, maybe you might agree with me that no, maybe we need to set up a full-fledged department training geologists. At the university, it might be one of the priorities. You say maybe what we need to do, like what they did in Namibia, establish a whole university to train mining engineers or that. In Namibia, they came up with a policy. If a company brings in an expatriate, there has to be someone who is understanding that expatriate for a period of time, and then that person has to take over.
Discussing about the African Mining Visions Cluster Program, Director of CIMAS Group Limited, Andrew Kelly, discloses that improved geological and mining information systems will underpin investment in exploration and mining development. The director of CIMAS Group Limited notes that Africa needs to urgently find mechanisms to fund geological survey department, adding that some African countries face some major challenges that impede government's ability to collect and centrally store geological information. NMJD Executive Director Abu Brewa, who represented civil society, says that the African Mining Vision came into being due to pressure of several civil society groups in Africa. He calls for the domestication of the African Mining Vision in Sierra Leone. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, Hawamasura reporting.
The Forum Against Harmful Practice, with support from the Guardian Global Media Company, has ended a day sensitization session with religious and traditional leaders and media practitioners. This is to draw attention on the dangers of harmful practices, with special reference to female genital mutilation.
The forum brought together the three targeted groups of stakeholders to chart the way forward to end harmful practices in the country. The Forum Against Harmful Practices was established in 2014 with 16 local non-governmental organizations and some international non-governmental organizations in a bid to create the desired impact in the fight to end FGM in the country. This national coalition, which sole aim is to reduce or eradicate harmful traditional practices in the form of child marriage and female circumcision, which also has reproductive health implications, teenage pregnancy, maternal mortality, and violence against women. Here are the contributions of some participants.
We get people that are away, they say they can this was good one, where it is say, we want to go in our conduit and if we still want to learn how to go to the time, you still partnership that they come, every sense and needs. Before now, not only saying they were of tradition and culture they change, and if they change, we step for change. So today and today, them two people we are covering that they want learn from you how we do it. That's what they help. How we do it, then they will share experience of other countries and how they do it and how we able for. Then we able to to one and see how they will support you again through the media, for everybody to do. So it's a terms and overview. This is the first time for Ghana alone, but not to say they got someone they can. Then when they were they communicated before they can approach you.
You have made a decision to be part of the work to saving our children. And when we politicize issues, we are not leaders. When we politicize
executive of the National Council of Paramount Chiefs. Trust me, if they take as serious the guy that takes Ebola business serious, they call all the chiefs, either by region or by district, they put onto them. Trust me, we will not get nothing for the United States. So please, we get the opportunity to stop this thing. Let me stop our once and for all.
And then, when you're not a facilitate development, when you're not a facilitate development, let me take for example, wetin happen for that chicken. That person where im pikin not ever achieve education, na im go wrong. Me, mama, even though you no go school, no go ever go school. Because you don't gain from the importance of education or food.
The struggle goes on in a way as I am representing my paramount chief. I am Chief Kapramonta Kamara, representing PC by Kublo Queen II of Marampa Chiefdom as one of its ceremonial chiefs. And when it comes to matter of talking about societal issues, it is we is sent on those podium to talk on societal issues, how it happens, how it should not happen based on the legislation of the country. So that's why he sent me, and I took a bold step to say, let me just come in and join the bandwagon of the campaign to see how best we'll deviate from that of arming the girl child to bringing them to be people that are resource person in the interest of the society.
The Sierra Leone Water Company Salwako has done pre-commissioning tests of the newly built water facilities in the two district headquarter towns of the south and the east. The project is part of Salwako's 3 town water and sanitation projects, and its cost $62 million United States dollars, as Miuba reports.
Then, to ensure we tell the people within Akenema, the water safe, the water good. Me, the Minister of Water Resources, I told them to where I put under the tap, I get me, the Minister of Water Resources, the drink camp for sure I say it's safe. So when nobody know can lie and I say anything they do. This was how they drink so it's safe past one when they sell na rubber.
This is how the test began in the Eastern District headquarters town of Kenema. This district has gone for more than 2 decades without any pipeline water, though it is the headquarters town of the East. Salwako was established in 2001 to provide water for the rural population. In the past, the institution was faced with many challenges, not least that of leadership and donor confidence. What many have agreed is that the new leadership at Salwako has restored the lost confidence, and the institution is now at the foremost in providing water for the rural population. Few months back, similar test was done for Makeni, the northern headquarter town of the north. The people in that district have also begun drinking pipeline water, which had been a luxury than a necessity. This pre-commissioning test, especially for Kenema, is coming at a time when the district is claiming that there is absence of social amenities. The 3 town water and sanitation projects are being funded by the OPEC Fund for International Development and the African Development Bank. The bulk of the funding is coming from ADB as a form of loan and grant. OPEC Fund for International Development provided a loan of $19 million. The government of Sierra Leone gave 1 billion loans, which went towards compensation to landowners. Mayor of Kenema, Joseph Kelfala, expressed appreciation for the provision of water, citing the importance of water in the people's lives. Mayor Kelfala assured Salwako that the council will protect the catchment areas.
There is nothing good where people will think about when somebody more than when somebody will give water. And we believe say the commissioning of this project today, pre-commissioning of this project today, now life where government don't give to the people of Kenema.
Member of the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Water said the people of the 2 districts should be ready to pay their bills in order to maintain the facility. Chairman Salwako Board, Honorable Gobin Fale, said the restoration of water supply for the two districts is a landmark achievement for the people. He warned them not to politicize the facility, but to embrace and use them judiciously.
This is a marvelous job, but in terms of the delicacy of water, we need to have armed policemen to be here to ensure that it's being protected. The other issue about sustainability is for our people, for us to change the mindsets of our people. That clean and safe drinking water is not easy to come by, and it's not cheap. People have to start to pay, and to start to pay however little it is. So in consultation with the Energy and Water Regulatory Commission, we've been able to come up with minimum fees for people. So
who was the happiest person to see this come true? Well, that could be said for the Director General of Salwako, who is at the helm of an institution that had become a laughingstock among its peers. Samuel Bangura was not oblivious of those who had put their shoulders to the wheel, like the Ministry of Finance and his supervisory ministry, Water Resources, institutions he described as support to the project. Mr. Bangura told his audience that his aim is to make Salwako one of the best institutions in the sub-region. Appealing to the people to take ownership of the project, the Salwako Director General said his company will provide quality service to its customers.
To Salwako, this is the greatest thing that have happened to Salwako as an institution, because it has set the platform for Salwako to become financially sustainable. From what His Excellency the President has done for us and our Minister, we now have a capacity to generate enough revenue so that we'll be able to run our systems without depending on subvention from government.
Minister of State Iskara Mokaba said as government is ready to provide water for its people, they, on the other hand, must be ready to pay their bills and protect the facility. Minister of Water Resources, under whose supervision Salwako has been transformed, said Salwako's transformation can be attributed to the change of leadership. Momodu Maligi said as young people they will work to ensure that Salwako responds to the demands of Sierra Leoneans. As the two districts begin to enjoy the supply of pipe-borne water, it now behoves the people to maintain the facility so that not only they, but generations yet to come will not go through the pains of shortage of water in a world where climate change is making gains and water shortage is one of the effects. For Salwako, more rural communities are waiting for their turn to have a drop from their taps. For SLBC News, Asmiuba.
General Manager of the National Tourist Board, Yasin Kagbo, has said resurfacing of seaweed has affected both national and international tourism. He said in order to keep the beaches clean, the board has embarked on a massive cleaning exercise. Mr. Kagbo was speaking to SLBC's Sheku Sumaila.
Unfortunate event. It is a phenomenon that has become an annual phenomenon. Since 2011, the seaweed has been affecting the communities along the beach and even affecting the tourism development of the country. Within the rainy season, we always have an invasion of seaweed. So for us, it is something that is very, very crucial to the development of tourism, and we do take it very, very serious. Definitely, it does have a negative impact. Now, let's take a look at the industry itself. The industry is a seasonal industry. It means during the dry season, we have a lot of travelers, we have a lot of tourists coming in, and in the rainy season, we all believe that we don't have too many activities around, so there are not too many visitors or tourists. So for that matter, the seaweed just makes matters worse, you know. So let's say we're losing about 20% during the rainy season because of the seasonal effect. So the seaweed makes it even bigger, even twice, because it doesn't even allow local tourism. Well, we know the causes currently. Like I said, it is a new phenomenon. In fact, to some scientists, the seaweed invasion is called the eighth wonder of the world, because no one knows what's actually the cause of the seaweed. But scientists have come up with so many reasons and many causes. They believe, one, it is because of change in climate. Number two, because there is also an increase in the temperature of the water. And number three is because of new species in the sea. I mean, we all know that there are, even within the human beings, we have so many, the population has increased recently. I mean, you remember at the time when Sierra Leone was just 2 million. Now we're talking about 7 million. Okay, so if you look at it in that context, you have a lot of deforestation and other activities. So the scientists that I have followed through, reading through their dissertation, believe that there are also new species and there are so many activities going underneath there. So these activities are more prevalent during the rainy season.
You're still watching News Hour live on the SLBC television, but for some business updates, business stories, we join Judith Sana.
Hello and welcome to the business updates. We begin with the foreign exchange rates. The US dollar buys at 6,035 yuans and sells at 6,157 yuans. Pound sterling buys at 7,967 yuans and sells at 8,130 yuans. Euro buys at 6,706 yuans and sells at 6,839 yuans. That's the foreign exchange rate courtesy of the central bank. Government has received $34 million from the International Monetary Fund (IMF) following the approval of the fifth review of Sierra Leone's performance under the extended credit facility arrangement on the 1st of July this year. The funds were disbursed on the 11th of this month. Details will be aired on a subsequent edition. Power for All and Energy Access for Decentralized Renewal Program has held a discussion with senior government officials, private sector and women engineers on the Energy Revolution and Energy African Compact at the Brookfield Hotel Conference Room in Freetown. The Energy Revolution aims to attract decentralized solar enterprises and investors to Sierra Leone to meet ambitious energy access targets. The Minister of Energy, Michaela, stressed the need for innovation as a way of boosting the solar system in the country. Here are some highlights.
Is geared towards engaging private sector participants, operators as partners. This is why we are working with the sector, particularly in EU, so we have SRBGC, to start private investors to do what we, the government, have not been able to do. And worldwide today, it is fashionable for government to shy away from doing business all by itself because we have now realized that we are not doing business. So therefore, I want to join presenters and with my colleagues in the public sector to look at these opportunities as partnership opportunities. The end result is for our people to have better services, better goods, and better access to electricity. And this is what we signed up for as government. So we should be grateful with our private sector partners, and we should also be very grateful to government ourselves. And we should work together and sort out all of the issues. The issues are human factors, because as Truth noted, if you ask the officer, they'll tell you, oh no, it's going to take more than 2 days. It shouldn't take more than 1 hour. But indeed, sometimes it does take more than 2 days. And sometimes it's not delivery, but it's happenstance, and it does take. So we have to work out all of these windows to make sure that the system can move faster. Because the president has given us his target. 50,000 installations by the end of this year, 200,000 by the end of next year. So it's only the speed that you can tune, that you can be in charge of. So that's why we need to go faster, to further to achieve our targets. And finally, I want to say that President's targets are not born out of a desire of himself getting 50,000 lights in his house. It's born out of a desire of seeing his people getting electricity at an affordable rate. And that is the key word. How much? He wants to know what is the financial impact on the part of the poor people and the poor poor who deserve electricity and may not be able to afford conventional solutions. So let me stop so far. I think the service I apologize for this to people. There's no more option. So therefore, that is why we are considering, especially now after the unbundling, that EDSA and BGCC are to operate as private businesses, because government does not any longer wish to be.
Government has received $34 million from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, following the approval of the fifth review of Sierra Leone's performance under the extended credit facility arrangements on the 1st of July this year. The funds were disbursed on the 11th of this month. Lucian Ghana has more.
Government has also received $30 million as capital gains tax following the conclusion of the sale of Airtel Sierra Leone to Orange Group. The release adds that all the expected disbursements, including €23 million from the European Commission and $20 million from the World Bank during the course of the years. These amounts, the release adds, will be made available to the private sector through the weekly foreign exchange auction at the Bank of Sierra Leone. The Leone equivalent of these funds, the release concludes, will be utilized to support the government.
That report, filed in by Lucian Ganda, was read by Michaela Brewa. Well, that's it from the business desk. Many thanks for your time. I'm Judith Sana.
Well, many thanks to you, Judith. There for the business updates. We go straight to our sports desk and John Francis Badad.
Hello, it's sports updates on Newsa and for Sports Now. Reports reaching the SLBC states Team Sierra Leone arrives in Rio, Brazil, ahead of the opening ceremony of the 2016 Olympic Games. The 7 of the 17-man delegation arrives yesterday evening after they took off from the Mohammed V Airport in Casablanca, Morocco. Media officer of the National Olympic Committee, Magdalene Kone, filed in this report, read by David Patrick Kamara.
Sierra Leone Olympic team has arrived safely in Rio de Janeiro in readiness for the 2016 Olympic Games. The 7-man delegation touched down the Galeão International Airport in Rio de Janeiro at about 5 p.m. local time on Wednesday, 27 July 2016, after departing at around 11:45 a.m. from Mohammed V Airport in Casablanca, Morocco. Receiving the team, the chef de mission Unisa Kabo explained the importance of the games to the athletes and took the delegation around the village on a familiarization tour. He said if the athletes are to succeed, they need to be disciplined and steadfast in their training. That is why the National Olympic Committee of Sierra Leone and the government did their best to make sure that the team arrive earlier before the opening ceremony so that they can acclimatize and have enough time for training. As athletes, you should know the purpose of attending the Olympic Games. You are here as ambassadors of Sierra Leone, and so you should maintain discipline and put up the best of your performance in the events that you are competing, he stressed. Team Sierra Leone is lodged very close to host country, Brazil, at apartment 31, floor 16. However, the country's fastest female sprinter, based in the United States of America, Hafsatu Kamara, is expected to join the delegation this week.
Well, from that report, we'll promise you that we'll continue to bring you more updates from the Rio Games in Brazil. And from that now, we move to the international scene and bring you some international sports story. Chelsea were 1-0 winners on the night, with defender Gary Cahill heading in after 10 minutes following a corner. Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp confirmed Fabregas went into Liverpool's dressing room after the game to apologize. New Chelsea manager Antonio Conte also apologized for the challenge, but insisted it was not intentional. We'll bring you highlights.
Der Schauplatz des dritten großartigen Testspiels am Stück im Rahmen des International Champions Cup. Erstmal auf den Eckball von Fabregas, 10. Minute. Ja, Karius bleibt im Kasten. Und Cahill sorgt fürs 1:0 für die Blues. Ruhenden Bällen. Und genauso läuft es hier ab in Sachen Strickmuster beim 1:0 für die Blues in diesem Testspiel. Na, die Zuordnung stimmt nicht so richtig. Firmino steht dann da auch noch irgendwie bei Cahill. Der kommt mit 1-2 Schritten angelaufen. Die Egeria, und wir gucken erstmal auf den nächsten Freistoß. Coutinho macht es. Könnte er sogar mal direkt probieren. Asmir Begovic noch nicht viel zu tun bekommen. Aber jetzt 2 hinter Thibaut Courtois. Aber ein super Backup. Das sehen wir hier. Guter Wettbewerb zu tun gibt. Keine internationalen Auftritte. Aber wir gucken auf Firmino. Mané mit der Hacke. Und nochmal die Hacke. Und der Treffer von Firmino, der nicht zählt, wegen da einzugreifen. Klasse. Hacke 1, Hacke 2. Ja, und dann eigentlich ja im Zweifel wunderbar. Jedes Mal Antonio Conte an der Linie. Und wie wunderbar wird das jetzt, was Moreno veranstaltet? Schade. Aber klar muss die Bilanz noch besser werden. Vor allen Dingen Dejan Lovren. Eben zweimal ausgeteilt gegen Loftus-Cheek. Und jetzt kriegt er, glaube ich, die Faust ab von Loris Karius. Ja, genau so ist es.
Well, still in the international scene, Manchester City are in talks with Everton over the possible signing of England defender John Stones. A deal is yet to be agreed, but it is thought the two Premier League clubs are not far apart in their valuations. It is thought Everton wants £50 million for the 22-year-old former Barnsley player who came close to joining Chelsea last summer. Stones was part of the England squad at Euro 2016 but did not feature as they were knocked out in the last 16 of the competition. But that's all we can provide for you in sports updates on Newsar.
And now to end the news, the main points again. Sierra Leone has joined other countries to observe Hepatitis Day. Board and management of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation have inspected properties of the corporation in Freetown. The ambassador of Ireland to Sierra Leone has taken formal leave of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the government of Sierra Leone has received over $34 million from the International Monetary Fund. But that's all in this edition of News Hour broadcast live on the SLBC television. On behalf of my news editor Abubakar Bangura, producer Joseph Stanley, Michaela, thanks for watching. Coming up next is